Hello, I'm James. Great to have your company and welcome to another edition of Smart Market Insights exclusive to Kalkine TV. In this episode, we'll take a look at the potential impact of the Russian-Ukraine conflict on Australian consumers and Australia's weakened consumer index in March. The impact of the Russia-Ukraine conflict has begun to reflect in Australia's economic data, with the country's consumer sentiment tumbling this month. The Westpac-Melbourne Institute Index of Consumer Sentiment dipped by 4.2% in March 2022 compared to that of February. The index stood at 96.6 points in March against a 100.8 point score in February. A mix of factors pushed the index below the 100-point level. The March reading was the weakest point since September 2020, when the index was below the 100 level, indicating the end of post-pandemic gloom. Despite employment statistics remaining robust and the labour market showing a strong recovery, global market forces created widespread unrest in the Australian economy. The decline in consumer confidence was driven by increased inflationary pressures and the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Meanwhile, the data captured the response to the southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales flooding. Since the Westpac survey was conducted between February 28 to March 4, it did not capture most of the devastation seen in Greater Sydney. However, agricultural commodity prices helped keep the confidence up in rural areas. Overall, the data was not an unexpected shock, as the prevailing market forces have created a cloudy economic outlook. As per the latest report, inflation-related news weighed negatively on consumer sentiment. More consumers reported that they had heard of inflation-related news in March compared to that of a year ago. 8.6% of respondents recalled news surrounding inflation 12 months ago, but this number has now shot up to 38.7% in March 2022, reaching a 14-year high. Additionally, more respondents recalled international news during the survey timeline compared to that of a year ago. Out of those surveyed, 18.6% recalled hearing international news in March 2022, compared to just 6.9% 12 months ago. Similarly, awareness on interest rates was also up from 6.9% to 18.1% for this March. Amidst increasing awareness on these topics, 40.6% of respondents had an opinion on the economy, against just 28.5% a year ago. However, 77% of respondents felt that the economic news was largely unfavourable, compared to 43% a year ago. Now, given all of these developments, over 2/3 of Aussies expect interest rates to be lifted in the next year. Just as some level of stability was beginning to seep into global economies after the pandemic, nations are once again facing tougher challenges due to the Russia-Ukraine war. For now, it is crucial to examine the industries that have been affected and figure out alternative sources to meet the requirements of these industries. Oil prices are already being impacted in Australia. Experts suggest that Russian sanctions would be more harmful than beneficial for Australia, with higher fuel prices potentially weighing on consumers heavily. Criticism has been aimed at various Western leaders, including US President Joe Biden, who is now looking towards Venezuela for solutions, along with Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison. And just before we take a look at 3 other impacted areas from the conflict for Aussie consumers, let's now take a very short break on Smart Market Insights. Hi there, James Preston for Kalkine TV. Are you into gaming and virtual reality? Does AI and the endless possibilities it entails capture your interest? Or are you constantly trawling through the web to try and discover the latest updates and innovations in the tech space? Well, let us do the work for you. From the latest product launches to shocking affairs on the World Wide Web, exclusive interviews and information about the top companies like Apple and Google, to brand new tech startups vying for your attention. Kalkine's Tech Beat has the latest in what matters in the world of technology. Join me every single Thursday on The Tech Beat, exclusive to Kalkine TV. Welcome back to Kalkine TV. You're watching Smart Market Insights, and in this edition we're taking a look at the economic impacts of the Russia-Ukraine war on Australian consumers. Oil has of course been impacted, and wheat prices are also set to endure negative effects from the fallout. Perhaps a more worrying outcome of the Russia-Ukraine war is the direct impact on wheat prices, which is a crucial staple commodity for Australia. Wheat prices rose to 14-year highs following the escalation of events in Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine account for around a third of the global wheat supply and 1/5 of the global corn exports. Australians could also experience a chip shortage. Palladium and neon are key resources that are derived from Russia and Ukraine, which are crucial in the manufacturing of semiconductor chips. The semiconductor market is already undergoing a shortage, which was widely felt during the pandemic. The key components imported from Russia and Ukraine are essential for automobile, mobile phone and electronic industries. And the final major area that is set to be impacted is that of steel and metal prices due to the breakdown of supply chains. Russia is the fourth largest producer of steel in the world, and growing political tensions have raised flags for the metal-indulgent sectors. With sanctions ongoing, Russia's production capacity could be severely impacted, which would in turn have a flow-on effect for the likes of Australia. Alright, well that's all for this edition of the Smart Market Insights show exclusive to Kalkine TV. Another episode coming your way tomorrow, and until then make sure to keep it locked on Kalkine TV for the latest market updates, business news and exclusive interviews. I'm James, signing off for now.